Good morning, students. Today we will see the fluid dynamics, right? In the fluid mechanics. This is one of the topic we had already seen fluid statics, then fluid kinematics, and the next is fluid dynamics. What is this actually? See, for example, if I take some river, suppose this is the river, right? And I assume that the water is flowing within this river, right? Water is flowing within this river. So when I will study about the motion of this fluid with considering the forces, right? See, when I will consider the motion, when I will study the motion of fluid with considering the forces, right? Then I will call it as the fluid dynamic. So I think, so when suppose water is flowing within this river, so I will consider some forces. So what are those forces, right? So when I will consider these forces, then I will say that is the fluid dynamics. So these forces may be gravitational force. This force may be maybe that is surface tension force. That force may be different forces. So here we will see this, right? I think it will be clear. Fluid dynamics is clear. So here, see. Before that, we will understand what is force. Suppose force is there. So, for example, force is acting in a x direction. So here, what is that force? If you will see, this force is mass into acceleration, where m is the mass of fluid and ax is the acceleration in x direction. And the net force comprises of the following force. What I told you, there may be the number of forces. Suppose here, this water is flowing, right? This water is flowing. So we are studying this motion, right? We are studying the motion of this fluid. So also we will consider the forces which will act on this motion of fluid, right? So these forces will be the sum of number of forces. What are those? See, first Fg, that is force in x direction, that is what? Force due to gravity. Similarly, Fp, force due to pressure. Force due to turbulence, Ft, force Fv, force due to viscosity, Fc, force due to compressibility, right? So there are the number of forces. When I will consider these all forces, and if I will sum all these forces, then I will get the forces which is acting on the fluid. I think it will be clear to you, right? Now next is Bernoulli's theorem. So Bernoulli, who is Bernoulli? Bernoulli is one of the scientists. First is this. Now he has given some theorem. When water is flowing, then about that fluid, he said something. So what is that? The total energy of moving fluid, comprising the gravitational potential energy of elevation, the energy associated with the fluid pressure, and kinetic energy of the fluid motion, remain constant. So for example, what is that? He is saying that if water is flowing, suppose this water is flowing, right? So here this water is flowing. So this water is flowing continuously. So what he is saying that the force, the energy in the water is due to velocity head, potential head, and kinetic head, right? So here, when we will sum all this, then we will get the energy in the water. I will tell you. See, according to the Bernoulli's theorem, he said that the energy in the water which is flowing is due to this flow work per unit mass, or next is V square upon 2g, that is kinetic energy per unit mass, or this Z is potential energy per unit mass. I will tell you more. See, that is this is also called as pressure head. This is called as velocity head, and this z is called as elevation head. And when we will sum all this, then we will get total head, and due to this total head, water is flowing, right? So this is actually the statement of Bernoulli. I think it will be clear. So here it will be more clear. For example, you have seen this river, right? If that may be river, that may be pipeline. Suppose this is the pipe, right? For example, this is the pipe, right? So within this pipe, water is also flowing, right? So when water is flowing, so that is flowing due to some energy, or in the river water is flowing, that is also having some energy, and according to that energy is equal to pressure head plus velocity head plus potential head, and that remain constant. This is actually the Bernoulli's theorem. For example, if I take one section here, if I take another section here, if I take another section here, so I say that at section 1 energy is say E1. I say at section, this is section 2 for example, I say that is energy E2, and if I say this is section 3 and that is the energy 3. So according to Bernoulli, the energy E1 will be equal to energy at E2, and energy at E2 will be equal to energy at E3, means there will be the same energy. This is actually the Bernoulli's theorem, right? Now we will I think it will be clear to you. So that's why this is denoted by energy, this P, sorry, this is actually P upon gamma, right, plus V square upon 2G. This is small g, acceleration due to gravity, plus Z is equal to energy, and that is equal to some constant, that is equal to some constant, means that will be in terms of head, right? So all will be in terms of head. So this is what? This is pressure head, this one is pressure head, this one is what? This one is velocity head, and this one is what? This one is potential head. So what is that actually? We will see. Just see. I am considering, say, one river is flowing, right? This is river, and water is flowing within this river, right? Water is flowing. So here I will consider one datum line or one reference line, right? So this is some datum. This is some datum. With reference to this datum, there will be some height of this bed of river, right? Bed of river means the bottom of river, right? So that is called as Z, that is what? Potential head. Similarly, when water is flowing here, then it will have some pressure, right? So this is called as pressure head, that is P upon gamma, right? And again this water will have some velocity, right? This water will have some velocity, and that is due to that velocity there will be the velocity head, that is V square upon 2G, right? So at any section, suppose here this is one section, so at any section this energy is due to these three terms, and that remain constant at any section. Suppose here, 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 at any section this energy, that E is energy, that remain constant in all or the section. This is actually the Bernoulli's theorem. I think now it will be very clear to you. Now we come to the point. So when he developed this theorem, then he assumed something. So what are those assumptions? First assumption was, see, we'll see here. He assumed that the flow is steady. We have already seen this steady, right? Means steady means the velocity, density, or any other properties of fluid does not change with respect to time. That is the steady. So he said that when water will flow, see this, when water will flow, then these properties will not change. That was first assumption. What was the second assumption? The flow must be incompressible even though pressure varies. The density must remain constant along a streamline. Means when the water will flow, then that will be incompressible. Means density of fluid will not change, right? Next assumption was friction by viscous forces must be negligible, right? We have already just discussed before this, right? This, just we'll see. These are the different forces when water flows, right? So he assumed that when water will flow, then the viscous force, right, within this water, viscous force, this viscous force is negligible, or we can say he assumed that is not there. Friction by viscous forces must be negligible, means there will be no viscous forces. Now, next assumption was fluid is irrotational. Irrotational means what? See, if I will take some particle from this river, so it is irrotational. Irrotational means suppose I assume that this is a cube, for example, right? So it will flow as it is, right? It will flow as it is. It will not rotate. Right? This was the assumption. Fluid is irrotational, right? Now I think it will be clear to you. Assumption is clear. The same thing, limitation, or we can say assumption. So first its limitation was steady flow, right? Second assumption was frictionless flow. Third, no shaft work. Then fourth was incompressible flow. I have already discussed. Second, his assumption was no heat transfer is there. Then flow along a streamline is there. So these are his assumption. So this is actually the derivation. We will not go into detail. Just we remember this equation, right? So see, this is the equation, right? Actually here you will see this density will clear, then you will get pressure head plus velocity head plus potential head. So here you remember this Bernoulli's equation is P upon rho g. Rho g is what? Gamma. P upon gamma plus V square upon 2g plus Z is equal to C1, and this is what? This is energy, and this is measured in meter. So remember this, right? So when we talk about this, you remember that. So this energy is measured in meter, right? In meter. This energy is measured in meter. Okay. Now, after that, so according to Bernoulli's theorem, see here one pipe is taken, and one section is taken, another section is taken. Here it is said that cross-sectional area of pipe is A1 and velocity is V1. Here A2 cross-sectional area is A2 and velocity is V2, and the distance, or we can say the location, is Z1. See here, one thing you remember, that Z1 is taken from datum to the center of pipe, or center of any object is there where water is flowing, right? So Z1. So here now this equation is P1 upon gamma plus V1 square upon 2g plus Z1, because at section 1, and at section 2 that is P2 upon gamma or rho g plus V2 square upon 2g plus Z2 is equal to some constant. See here plus HF means what? So this is some modification in Bernoulli's theorem, right? So that's why here it is given that Bernoulli's theorem with head loss. I will tell you after this. So first, Bernoulli's theorem is clear. I think to you Bernoulli's theorem will be clear to you. Now, the just what I told you, the modification we say that with head loss. So P1 upon say gamma 1 is equal to V1 square upon 2G plus Z1, that is datum, is equal to P2 square, P2 upon gamma 2 plus, I am writing here, or I can also write here, no problem. I think it will be clear to you. So here plus V2 square upon 2G plus Z2, right? So this is actually Bernoulli's theorem. What is modification? So for understanding the modification, again we will go above. See, this is our river. So the modification in Bernoulli's theorem actually that was that, see, when water flows, see, water is flowing from this direction, from here to this from E1 to E3, okay? So when water flows, so due to friction, suppose there is, now I will come at the bottom, you have seen this, suppose this is my river bed, okay, and here water is flowing with some height. So this is some height, right? And this height is nothing but P upon gamma, right? So when water flows, right, when water flows due to this bed, right, here at the bed, there will be some friction, right? There will be some friction. Or if pipe is there, what? So when water will flow at this surface, right, at this surface, there will be some friction. Similarly, at the bed of the river, there will be some friction. So due to this friction, what will happen? Whatever the energy was at this section, it will be more compared to at this section, because due to this friction, this energy, I say this is E1, will lose some energy, and here there will be some energy at section 2, there will be energy at E2. So what was modification? So energy at section 1 minus some loss. Some loss is nothing but, it is denoted by HF, that is head loss due to friction, is equal to energy at section 2. I think it will be clear. E1 minus HF is equal to E2. So if I will take E1 and this EF will come right side to this equal, so what will be this one? This one will become E1. This one will become E1 is equal to E2 plus HF, right? So this was actually the modification in Bernoulli's theorem. So this was the modification in Bernoulli's theorem. I think it will be clear to you now. So that's why this HF is here, okay? Now, next, there are two hydraulic gradient lines and energy lines. So here we will see what is this. So here just you see this. See, there is water in tank and water is flowing, right? Here water is flowing, right? and here this some imaginary lines are drawn. These are some imaginary lines. So what is this? This is some lines, imaginary lines, and this is actually the energy lines. First, you know this. So there are two things: hydraulic gradient line and energy grade line. So what is this? Hydraulic gradient line means what? See, water is flowing, and here you say this is the datum Z. Datum, right? And this is assumed as 0 actually. So if I will take the distance if I will take from by considering this as a datum at this point, right? At this point, this line is HGL and this line is EGL. What is this actually? Now here we will understand this, then it will be clear to you. EGL and HGL. See here, see water is flowing. Suppose there is some pipeline, right? And water is flowing with this pipeline. And this is actually, see here, from this is datum. I am considering this as a datum. From datum to the center of the pipe. So this is what? This is my Z, right? Plus this some height. Height means what? That is actually height is P upon gamma, whatever it is, P upon gamma, plus this velocity head, that is V square upon 2g, right? So here it will come somewhere here, like this, right? So this line actually, this green line, right? And when I'm adding this Z plus P upon gamma plus V square upon 2g, right? V square upon 2g, right? When I will add this at every point, suppose at this section, or at this section, then I will get some point here, right? Some point here, and here some point, right? When I will join this line, then this line is called as energy gradient line. That is what? P upon gamma plus V square upon 2g plus Z. Now, what is hydraulic gradient line? So here just you see this. When I will add these two terms, only this one, that is what? P upon gamma, this P upon gamma and this Z. Z value may be Z1, Z2, Z3 at every section. I think it will be clear to you. So when this is P upon gamma, so P upon gamma plus Z, whatever Z is there. At different section Z will be different and P upon gamma at different section will be different. So when I will add these two, then I will get this hydraulic gradient line. I think it will be clear to you, right? So this is clear now. Practical application of Bernoulli's theorem. What is the practical application of Bernoulli's theorem? We'll see. So Bernoulli's theorem is generally objective is to study the application of Bernoulli's equation. So these are the devices: Venturi meter, orifice meter, Pitot tube. These are the devices which are used in fluid mechanics. So what is Venturi meter? It is a device based on Bernoulli's theorem, and it is used for measuring the rate of flow of liquid flow through the pipes. Using Bernoulli's theorem, Venturi meter formula is given as. Now first we will see what is Venturi meter. So here this is Venturi meter actually. So before that, I think when you will see the figure, see here, this device is Venturi meter, and this is the Venturi meter. This is for very big pipeline. This is connected with some pipe, right? And water flows through this. So when water flows through this, so what happens? First, what are the different components we will see, and then After that we will solve the problem, right? So here when see water will flow, so first this component is called as inlet, means the inlet is where the water will go inside the pipe. Now this portion is called as convergent cone, because this is converging, this one is converging. Then this portion is called as throat, and after that this is diverging cone, diverge, because this cone is diverging, right? Diverging means like this, diverging, right? So this is inlet, then this is diverging cone, this is throat, this is converging cone, and this one is the outlet pipe, we can say, or outlet. Now if you will see, the length from here to here is very small, and when you will see the length is very big, right? Okay, now this is nothing but this is the venturimeter. Now what is the application of this venturimeter? So generally what happens, see when water flows from here to here, so pressure difference is created. What happen, see when this area will be more, so water will flow very slowly. As this diameter will converge, it will reduce, immediately water will flow immediately, and here pressure will be, what will be here, pressure will be more, the pressure will be exerted at this point, right? So when pressure will be exerted, so and here the pressure and here the pressure will be different. So by using the venturimeter, pressure difference is created, and due to this difference of pressure we measure the discharge rate. Discharge rate means what, see water is flowing from here, so in 1 second at this outlet, how much quantity of water is going out in 1 second, how much liter or how much meter cube is going. So this venturimeter is used for measuring the discharge rate from any pipe, right? And the principle is in the direction of flow, the area or cross-sectional area is reduced and pressure difference is created, and through this pressure difference discharge is measured. I think it will be clear. These are the some applications, right? So pressure head, it is used where the working with a small pressure head, and used for measuring the flow rate, what I told you, right? Similarly it is used in a water treatment plant also, right? And it does not clogs easily, right? So here some photograph is there. Now next term is coefficient of discharge. What is coefficient of discharge? See, before I'll coefficient of discharge, see. Now once it is clear to you, see suppose this is the venturimeter, right? This is I am not drawing properly, but you understand, I think. This is actually our venturimeter. Water is flowing, right? Water is flowing through venturimeter or through pipe. We can take on a pipe also. Just we have to understand what is coefficient of discharge. We can take pipe, we can take anything, right? So here water is flowing, right? Water is coming out in 1 second. So this I will tell you, I will tell that this is Q actual, means in actual how much quantity of water is going out from this section, right? Now there is some theoretical formula also that is given for measuring the discharge rate, right? So for venturimeter there is some formula for measuring the theoretical discharge. Theoretical discharge means it is given by some formula. And what is actual discharge? Actual discharge is whatever in real situation what discharge is there, right? So when I will take the ratio of actual discharge to the theoretical discharge, then I will get the value of CD. So CD is what? CD is called as coefficient of discharge, and it is equal to the ratio of actual discharge, that is Q act, divided by Q theoretical. I think it will be clear to you. So it is the actually ratio of actual discharge to the theoretical discharge, right? And the values of this is generally in between 0.95 to 0.98, right? Next, so here is for C, Q actual, the formula is given, right? Q actual is equal to what? And Q theoretical, C. Here Q actual is equal to CD into this A1 into A2 in under root of A1 square minus A2 square into under root twice GH. So this term is nothing but this is Q theoretical and this is CD. If Q theoretical will come here, so what will be this one? Q actual upon Q theoretical will be equal to CD. So this is, we have already seen this, right? Now Q theoretical is what? A1 into A2 under root of A1 square minus A2 square into 2GH. So what is A1, what is A2, what is G, what is H? So here again we will come, see, if this is Venturi meter, so if I will take, this is what I told you, this is inlet. So A1 is the area of inlet pipe. This is inlet pipe. So A1 is the area of inlet pipe. For A1 there will be the diameter, say D1, right? Through this diameter I will calculate the area A1. Similarly, what is A2? This is throat. I have already told you this throat is having some diameter, and through that diameter I will calculate this A2. So here A2 will be calculated by some diameter D2. So A1 is the area of inlet pipe and A2 is what? Area of throat. When I will calculate, when I will have the diameter D1 and D2, I will calculate A1 and A2. Now what is next? What is this H? This H. So see here, I think I have to show here, that will be more clear. See, one manometer is connected. We have already studied U-tube manometer. So this U-tube manometer is there, right? So what happens when U-tube manometer we connect? So we there will be some pressure at section 1 and section 2. So due to this pressure difference, manometer difference will be created, and that is noted as a X, right? This is noted as a X. When this, see, when this X is noted, then it is multiplied by the difference of specific gravity or between the mercury specific gravity and water. So specific gravity of mercury is 13.6 minus specific gravity of water is 1. So when I will get this, sorry, this is actually multiplication, okay? This is so this is actually multiplication. So when this X is multiplied by with the difference of this, then we get this H value, pressure difference. That is nothing but the pressure difference in meter. Okay. Now I think it will be clear to you. A1 clear, A2 clear, H clear. G is what? Acceleration due to gravity, right? Now here some more thing is there. What is that? This H is having two formula. H is equal to X into SH upon S0 minus 1, and H is equal to X into 1 minus SL upon S0. What is this? Simply I will tell you. See, this is our Venturi meter, right? Just I am drawing roughly because I am not able to draw properly, right? And here see, U-tube manometer is connected with this, right? And here some liquid is there within this, and through this what we get? We get this X value. This is what? This is our X value, right? So this is having a liquid, what is that? That is mercury. And this liquid is what? This is water, right? So there are two different types of liquid. So when the specific gravity, when this liquid will be more heavy, or we can say it will have more specific gravity compared to this liquid which is flowing in pipe, then we use this formula. What is that? That H is equal to X into we will write like this, Sm upon Sp. So that is given is something different, minus 1, right? Minus 1. So this is what M means, what? Liquid in manometer, and P means what? P is denoting the liquid in pipe. So S means what? Sm means what? The specific gravity which is of liquid which is present in manometer, and Sp is the specific gravity of liquid which is present in pipe, right? So when this is more heavy, specific gravity is more heavy in this, so then we use this formula. When the specific gravity of this liquid will be more than this, then we will use this formula. H is equal to 1 minus, it will be reverse only. I think it will be clear to you. So this is the same thing, right? 1 minus is a specific gravity of higher liquid in this. Now we will see the numerical in the next lecture. I hope everything will be clear to you. If you have any doubt, you can ask me. I will clear it. Okay, thank you.